My thighs are burning. My biceps are starting to shake. Okay, time to put it down. Is the 24-240mm OSS telezoom lens as bad as people say it is? Let's find out.
They don't think we can keep making hits about cameras. But I'm the cameraman. But I'm the cameraman. Stay creamy. Yeah, started on a 50mm lens.
If this is your first time to the channel, I'd like to welcome you. This is Lessons Learned with Cameras. My name is Willie. So I purchased this telezoom lens about 8 months ago. And I purchased it mainly because I needed a lens that had some type of versatility to it, that had a long distance that I could focus between 24mm and in the 200 range. I had to make a choice. It was between this and I think it was a Tamron 28-200. I couldn't really find nothing good pertaining to this lens. Most people talked about a lot of the shortcomings of it. And yes, I understand. I didn't have a problem purchasing this. They had plenty to choose from on the secondary market. And also you can still purchase it through Sony. The 24-240mm OSS F3.5-6.3. It's been in the Sony lineup since 2015. Okay, I don't want to spend a lot of time getting into the 17 elements, the 12 groups, the 7 blades. That deals with the construction of the lens itself. I want to kind of go into stuff that deals with the practical application of the lens for ordinary people and real world use, okay? That's what this is all about. So I feel we should address some of the pros and cons with having a lens like this in your collection. Pros first, versatility. This lens has a 24mm to 540mm zoom range. Yes, I said 540mm zoom range. We'll get into it later on, but for all intents and purposes, I'll just keep to what's on the lens. On the lens, it says 240. So just let it be known, the versatility is phenomenal. This big beast has optical steady shot. I would hope for something this big that Sony would have put that in here, but yes, Sony took care of that. Optical steady shot, so you got that stabilization in the lens that you need to definitely zoom in when you get in that 240 range. That stabilization is a lifesaver. It's weather sealed. For me, I don't shoot in the rain. You know, I'm not really a big, I like to shoot in the rain type of guy or shooting inclement weather. If it's gonna rain or the weather's gonna get bad, I'm coming inside. But for someone who's getting this lens, who's a little bit more serious about the shooting, you know, it comes in handy. The moment I haven't been waiting on, but I gotta keep it real with you, this lens does have some cons. First one, weight. This lens comes in at 780 grams. I think it's 1.72 pounds. With that being said, that's something you do have to plan for when using this lens for long durations of time. Second one, which is why I think there's so much hate for this lens, is the variable aperture. Yes, you have it out to 200mm, 6.3 is not gonna let in a lot of light. It would be perfect if this was a constant aperture of f2.8, but this ain't a G lens. My problem I have with this is I think people have an unrealistic expectation for this lens. You have to work within its limits and capabilities. I mean, yes, a variable aperture, you already know that that's going to be a shortcoming. That's going to be a limitation, especially when shooting in low light. Third one would be price. Now, I think that's subjective. You know, I get where everybody's coming from when they're saying that this lens is way overpriced for what it does. I don't think it is, but I can see why people think that's a con. I guess that would be quite a bit to ask for, so that's why that made the con list. Now, I truly believe that this is the most underrated lens in Sony's lineup today. I just think people don't give it enough credit for what it can do. So without further ado, I took this lens out for a test vlog. I wanted to see if I was in a pinch, could I vlog with this lens if need be? Now, let me give the disclosure. I am not in one way, shape, or form saying that someone should run out and get a 24-240 for the sake of vlogging. If you do that, then you're gonna be in a world of hurt. But is it doable? Yeah, of course it's doable. Okay, so I'm out here today with the big beast, Sony 24-240mm F3.5-6.3 OSS. Just taking it out for a little bit just to see if it's possible to vlog on this lens. Obviously, this lens wouldn't be a first choice. You'd be crazy if you picked this as your only vlogging lens, but can it get it done in a crunch? You know, I think it can. You know, there's some factors that you do have to take into consideration. Let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room, is the weight. This lens does have a lot of weight to it, but you know, it's manageable. It's nothing crazy. I mean, sure, I got my arm almost fully extended, and would I want to hold my arm up like this and vlog an entire day? Probably not. But, you know, if there's something I wanted to say to the camera and I had to flip it around, at least, you know, I know it's an option. Okay, let's talk a little bit about who this lens is for. You know, if you're a person that like having that one and done lens for family vacations, you know, things where you won't be the only one with this huge lens attached to a camera, then, I mean, this lens is for you. Also, if you can almost guarantee that you won't have to shoot in low light, you might want to think about this lens. Who is this lens not for? Probably someone who's trying to shoot any type of activity that has fast pace or motion in it. Bird watching, wildlife. I wouldn't be trying to shoot no tigers, zebras, road runners with this. This lens may not be for you if you're one that's kind of shy, don't like pulling this camera out in public. This may not be the right choice. There's nothing discreet about this lens at all. Tell you who else this lens may not be for. May not be for you if you make it a habit of skipping tries and buys at the gym, or if you have those little small T-Rex arms. This may not be the lens for you. Okay, you got 24 millimeters right here. Go ahead and zoom it on in to 240. Okay, there you go at 240. Now let's go ahead and add that 1.5 clear image zoom. Okay, that's with the APS-C crop. Let's go ahead and punch in a little bit more, clear image zoom. And let's punch out from there. Would I recommend vlogging all day with this lens? No, I wouldn't recommend that at all. You know, every once in a while, when you have to put the lens up, you know, it's a quick fix, so you don't have to go and change a bunch of lenses. I definitely wouldn't come out with the purpose of vlogging with this lens all day. Okay, I'm starting a low light test. It's around 6 p.m. Sun's already down. And right now the ISO is at 640. F-stop is 3.5 with 1/125. So still like it's picking up pretty good. The eye autofocus is still tracking. No issues so far. Now it's crazy how much difference it is tonight using a full frame camera versus the point and shoot. And like right now, eye autofocus still tracking. And trust me, it's a lot darker out here for real than what this display screen is showing. But everything's still tracking. ISO did change. ISO did change. It's 2000 now. Still f3.5 and 1/125. So I could adjust my shutter and go into shutter priority, but I'm just gonna keep it like this and just, you know, see how this looks vlogging at night or during low light. Okay, this still isn't bad right here. Okay, ISO starting to go up a little bit, 4000 now. Still f3.5. Looks like it's holding up pretty well. And again, this just proves my case for doing video. I mean, I know everybody says the footage is real grainy with a variable aperture. And I know if you were using maybe another camera body, you know, you may not have the same results. Okay, as you can see, the street lights are already on. Either I impress easily or I must have low standards, but man, I mean, it's doing pretty good. ISO's at 5000 right now. Obviously, f-stop's still the same, 1/125. So my shutter's not going really no lower. It's fluctuating between 1/50 and 1/125. The eye autofocus is still working. Okay, even zoomed in f6.3. The ISO is at 5000, 1/50 at the shutter speed. I just keep doing the zoom test just to see how much grain is being introduced into the footage. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Do I feel in 2022 the 24-240 OSS f3.5-6.3 Sony zoom lens, do I still feel it's relevant in this year? No doubt. If you could point out to me another lens in its same price point that covers the same amount of distance that weighs the same or less, that is comparable, that would be a good replacement for this lens, hey, let me know in the comments. I could be wrong, but I haven't found one. And don't tell me the 28-200 Tamron, that f2.8-5.6, don't tell me that one, because I could tell you a lot of things that is wrong with that lens and why that was not the choice I made when it came to me deciding if I was going to go with that or this one. If you like this video and you feel it was informative, please hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I will definitely be doing more content like this. I don't know what my next one's going to be. You know, it'll be something crazy, something out there in left field, but definitely another one's coming soon. Talk to you later. I'm out.